So how did you get into making or composing for Final Fantasy or games?
Well, actually, a funny thing with that is that I actually first worked on some video game scores with the original release of Halo. That was, as it turns out, the composers Marty O'Donnell and Mike Salvatore were based in Chicago, where I'm based, and so I actually helped them with some arrangements and recorded actually as a violinist on some of the original tracks from Halo, curiously enough. But that, my involvement really came to video game music from the standpoint of being a conductor of orchestras and concerts and different multimedia projects all over the world. It was from that involvement that we learned of all the video game music concerts that were taking place in Japan by Square Enix and others, and we decided in Chicago with the orchestra that I conduct there that we would be adventurous and take the first step and do the first public concert of the music of Final Fantasy, and we offered to Square Enix to do that, which they accepted, and we did it in February of 2015. February of 2005. 2005. And that was the Dear Friends music from Final Fantasy. Different from Distant Worlds, but similar. And that concert was fantastic. It was the first concert in the United States of video game music, public concert, and sold out. I conducted about 3 or 4 other concerts. Nobu-san and I really enjoyed working together, and more projects came from that. We did a project called More Friends in Los Angeles. We also filmed for DVD for that. And then I was invited to Japan to do the Square Enix concert, Voices music from Final Fantasy, which involved a lot of their singers, Ricky, Angela Aki, Amiko Shiratori, chorus, and also the Black Mages played as well, with orchestra, with us. So it was a great concert. It was after that Square Enix approached us about doing an actual global concert tour, and that was how Distant Worlds began. First concert was in December of 2007.
Okay.
So we've been 6 years, 7 years now.
So you mentioned Halo. Do you got any plans on doing this for other games like Distant Worlds, or?
There are. I've been involved with video game concerts of other game music. I did maybe for 5 years. I was going to the WDR orchestra in Cologne and doing theme-based concerts. Some of them were based on Nintendo games, some based on other Square Enix games, RPG games like Kingdom Hearts, or we did Zelda, we did a lot of things. I also was the music director of a thing called Play, a video game symphony. There we did maybe 12 or 15 different video game scores at every concert, so there were different ones. So I've been involved with that over the years. I'm really concentrating more on the music of Final Fantasy because I think, in my experience, so far I haven't found another, maybe you have a suggestion, but I haven't found another video game series where the fans are so devoted to the music of the series. Most of the fans are devoted to the gameplay, and the actual experience of the game itself, and I understand that. And that is how a lot of the games are written in terms of the music. You'll have one big heroic main theme, but after that, for all the action, the actual gameplay itself, you might have loops of things that are percussion loops and things like that not so much thematic material. In Final Fantasy, all of the music is built around specific melodies for each character, for each battle, for each journey or quest or whatever it might be. And because of that, it seems that over the years, fans have become extremely dedicated to the music of Final Fantasy. We don't need to have a video game, a video display on the screen. We do it because it's fun for all of us, you know, for the fans. But I treat it as eye candy. You know, it's not critical to the concert. And we try to prove this over and over again, that these fans would be very happy to be here just to hear the concert. It's mostly the outside public, presenters, that think, oh, well, you have to have visuals if you're doing video game music. Well, no, we really don't. This is about the music. So, for instance, when we do our chamber music version, we have a new tour that we just launched this year. It's called A New World, Intimate Music from Final Fantasy. That one is just 11 musicians on stage that I also conduct. And they're maybe in 400, 500 seat venues, small, so that the audience is very close to us. And it's a very intimate kind of chamber music version of this. No video whatsoever, it's just a concert. And fans are, you know, these sell out as well. Fans are very into it. So I think that proves the point a little bit, that the fans of Final Fantasy are into the music of Final Fantasy. They really devoted to that. So they would be, again, very happy to go to a concert without any video screen. I will say that that's a lot of fun, having the video screen there. You know, they'll see an image come up that reminds them of this or that battle, whatever, and it's exciting. But it's the music really that drives it, I think.
So, did you play yourself some Final Fantasy games, or do you know them just from hearing the soundtracks? Or
We do have Final Fantasy VII in our office.
Oh.
I tried it, but it's too difficult. And here's the thing, for me to get to all the music that I'm working on in Final Fantasy, I mean, you have to play for so many hours to get to see where some of that music is being used in the game. It's much more direct and easy for me to work directly with Nobuo Uematsu or Hitoshi Sakimoto or Masashi Hamauzu, the composer of 13, or Naoshi Mizuta, the composer of 11, and many of the others. I work with them directly. We send each other audio and video examples of how it's used. It's a much quicker and more efficient way for me to deal with working on the music and writing new arrangements, things like that. So the gameplay is great, but you know, you have to devote a lot of time to it, right? so.
And do you generally play games, video games like you mentioned Halo, or are you not interested in playing games?
No, I'll tell you the truth is that I'm not a big gamer, you know, but I'm working with the composers and the directors of video games intensively all the time. I mean, every week. So I work with them, but it would be, I wouldn't say that I play the game for hours and hours each week. I don't do that. Simply because there's not enough time. This is, you know, 4 weeks ago I was in Malaysia conducting in Kuala Lumpur, conducting Malaysian Philharmonic distant roles. Then in meetings in Japan with Square Enix. Then 2 weeks ago, Montreal, A New World, the chamber music concerts, 2 of those. Then a new Distant Worlds concert in Chicago, and now here. So there's not a lot of time in between for that. So, but I love it. I love the game. I love the music. I really especially love the idea that the music is these leitmotifs are used with each one of the characters. It's really great. And one of the great joys is going through all this music from 9 and 10 and 4, 5, 6, 7, all the games, and finding a new theme, and they're like, oh wow, that is a fantastic piece of music. We must do that either on Intimate or Distant Worlds, and fans write in with a lot of suggestions as well, and we get some publishing data to find out what's the most popular themes, that kind of thing. So that's really the greatest joy is, let's say we're coming back to Vienna, and it's our second time. What's new that we can play here? And you can hear the organ noodling around over there. We're going to play Dancing Mad tonight. We're trying to do a little bit more of Final Fantasy VI on many concerts, or just something special from 6. Because this year is the 20th anniversary of the release of Final Fantasy VI. And I know that it's very partial to Nobu-san. He really loves Final Fantasy VI, so we're trying to favor that a lot.
So what's your favorite part of the show? Your personal favorite part? Which soundtrack piece do you like?
We get asked that question all the time, and what's your favorite? It's the most difficult question of all.
Yeah.
You know, I could break it down into categories. What's your most favorite character theme? What's your favorite battle theme? You know, that kind of thing, maybe. You know, I think Aerith's theme might be my favorite character theme, and I think battle theme, wow. I don't know. It's hard to have a greater piece of music than One Winged Angel. Well, you know,
Yeah.
that might be the best. So, well, thank you. I think I'm going on to something at 1 o'clock. So, thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thanks for taking the time.
Pleasure. Yeah, thank you.